Sure, you can optimize your pictures and maybe get them professionally done, and you can optimize your profile and you can optimize your texting strategies, but it's not the same. It's not even close to being the same. It's not something that she can experience in real time in front of her. What up, Casanova? In this video, I want to talk to you about why I think dating apps are generally a waste of time. Why the return on investment you'll get is going to be much lower than it would be otherwise with cold approach. Why you will not get the kind of results that you're looking for. Why you will not get access to the higher quality girls that you want. And why, most importantly, you are not really going to grow or learn much in the process. Look, I've always been against the idea of dating apps for the reasons that I suspected that I'm going to talk to you about in this video, but I decided to finally give it a proper go when this pandemic hit, and I finally confirmed what I had already suspected from the get-go, that it is just a bad model. And this is something that's been confirmed by a lot of my students that have tried both cold approach and online dating. So let's dive into it. Let's look at the reasons as to why it's a waste of your time. Number one, personality and vibe cannot really be showcased with online dating. Look, 93% of our interactions are nonverbal. 7%, only 7% is the content itself. Meaning, the majority of our interactions, of how we experience one another is, falls under the honest signals that we talk about, or lies in the honest signals that we talk about, which is eye contact, body language, vocal tonality and pacing, and facial expressions, okay? That's how we convey our vibe. Now, you can't do that with online dating. Sure, you have platforms like Hinge which allow you to record a 20-second video in your profile. Okay? And of course, most guys don't actually take advantage of this, but you can. And that gives you a little bit of an edge, but not nearly enough. Now, sure, if you match the girl, some of the platforms allow for audio and maybe video messaging, which again, a lot of guys don't take advantage of, but if you're smart enough, you can, because I always advocate doing audio messaging or video messaging in general, to convey more emotion, but that is not enough. Yo, quick announcement, my dude. Just want to briefly mention that over the last year, many guys have been asking me, how do you create chemistry with women? And this has sadly been exaggerated by the pandemic. That's right, I'm talking about that magic you see me create with the girls in my videos. So, I've decided to give away a super entertaining, uncut, infield bonus video showing exactly that. Just click on the link in the description below. By signing up, you're also joining the VIP list for our, wait for it, new course, Honest Chemistry, which will be released in the next couple of weeks and will teach you everything to do with creating chemistry, from sexual tension to an amazing connection. This course has been more than a year in the making, and I'm really excited to release it. So be sure to click the link in the description box or comment section below to get access to your bonus video today and stay in the loop. All right, now let's get back into it. Sure, you can optimize your pictures and maybe get them professionally done, and you can optimize your profile and you can optimize your texting strategies. And, you can hint at a certain lifestyle or a certain personality, but it's not the same. It's not even close to being the same. It's not something that she can experience in real time in front of her for it to really register in her core. So what happens when girls are swiping on these platforms, they don't have anything to go by other than your pictures and a little bit of text in your profile. So what girls are forced to do is place a lot of emphasis on looks alone. So looks become an exponentially bigger factor. Well, because why? They have no idea what you're about. So at the very least, they're gonna try to opt for the better looking guys with the better photos that are better dressed and have a seemingly cooler lifestyle. Because it at least hints at the possibility that those guys could be cooler, more confident, more interesting, etc. It's like, because better looking guys have like a certain halo effect. It's like if you are looking for certain job candidates and all you have is a resume in front of you, then of course you're going to be looking for certain criteria on the resume to make your life easier, to make the screening process easier. Maybe a certain kind of education, certain kind of experience. But ultimately, you don't know if it's a good fit until you're in there in the interview and you feel the candidate out, you feel out their vibe, you talk more in depth about their experience, you see if there's conviction in what they're saying, if there's confidence in what they're saying, if you think that they're going to be a good fit for your culture, etc., etc. So looks become an exponentially bigger factor. Also, age and age differences become a bigger factor. So if you're an older guy and you're trying to hook up with younger girls, let's say you're in your late 30s, early 40s, whatever, you're trying to go for girls that are in their early 20s, you could do that in real life. It's not as big of an issue, but online, it will become a bigger issue. And girls will, for the majority, let's say a girl is in her early 20s, she's gonna have a certain kind of ceiling in her mind. She's gonna think, oh, well, I'll just go for the guys that are like less than 29 and down. Because in her mind, she's gonna think, and again, this is more pronounced in the West, maybe in North America, might not be the case in places like Eastern Europe, South America. Some places in Europe will vary, but in her mind, maybe 30 is gonna be a big number, or anything over 35 is gonna be a big number. Whereas if she experiences your vibe in person, it's not gonna be as big of a deal. It won't be as pronounced, because inherently girls do wanna hook up with older guys for a variety of reasons. But online, it's just this like weird mental hurdle that, because there's a lot of conditioning that happens, around this topic as well. So it becomes this like mental hurdle that she'd rather just like not overcome and think, well, it's like, yeah, maybe I can meet an older guy, but generally speaking, I'd probably prefer a guy who's like not that much older than me. If I'm 21, maybe like 29 is my cutoff. But if you're some really cool, 31-year-old or 35-year-old, you just won't have that chance. So there's a lot more emphasis on looks, age. So girls are going to be swiping for the best looking guys with the best profiles within a certain age range, because otherwise there's just no way of narrowing it down. Which leads me to my second point, is that even then, hot girls, we're talking about hot girls, are going to have way too many options. If you are an 8 and above, then you are going to have your pick of the fucking litter. I was just hanging out with a hot girl the other week, and I was looking at her Hinge profile, and just in one day she was like sorting through 50 likes. So on Hinge, the way it works is you like and comment a photo in the girl's profile or one of her like captions or prompts, and then she kind of goes through all these and sees if she likes you back. So one day she was sorting through like 50. So maybe she'll match with, let's say a quarter of these. That's just in one day. Look, on average, hot girls are dealing with like tens, if not 100 plus matches. And all these guys, in their eyes, because they matched, have potential. They get paralyzed. These girls just get paralyzed by choice. It's just overwhelming. Now, add to that the fact that girls are generally passive by nature. And then you have, a lot of these guys that are like throwing these lame, openers. They're initiating the conversations with something like, hey, what's up? How about that pandemic? Which discourages the girls even more from engaging with these messages. Now, sure, you can stand out with a creative message as a result of that, but because you're dealing with this sea of messages from, these cookie cutter templated approaches from a bunch of like good-looking dudes that could be a potential match, girls just get overall discouraged and paralyzed, and they don't check in the apps that often. It just kind of like becomes a thing for them to do, but they're not really as invested, as engaged, and it just becomes very, very hard to stand out because the girls' attitudes are generally not very positive or optimistic. Point 3, and this in some way relates to point 2, and that is that there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of noise to deal with, and some apps are better than others with this. But girls are on there. What I mean by noise is you're dealing with a lot of girls that are on there for the wrong fucking reasons. They're on there to get more IG followers. They're on there to get more validation. They're on there as a nice distraction. They're on there to get over their ex. They're on there to fucking make friends. I was talking to this girl the other week, and I started screening for a lot of these things. You start to get better at more strategic with all this, better at screening for certain types of girls and certain types of situations. But she was in Toronto, and for some reason she was swiping in Montreal. She wasn't even planning to move there, and she was just like looking to connect with people and like make friends. And I was just like, Jesus Christ, like, what are you doing? And thank God that I learned to like screen for these things. Now imagine if you're not doing that, you're just like chatting with this girl. And on Hinge, what you can do is you can say that you're, place your location wherever you want it to be, especially if you have a premium account. So the person doesn't even know that you're in another city. And I think, with other dating apps, you could also do that, but with like a premium service. The point is that you're dealing with all this bullshit and all this noise, and you can get better at screening for it to see like, why is the girl really on there? Is she just like getting some validation to get over her ex, but she has really no intention to meet up? But you're still dealing with all that bullshit. Number 4, pictures and profiles are not representative of real life. I'm sure a lot of you have experienced this. I've experienced this. It's very annoying. Girls are catfishing, or they're distorting their images. They're shooting from different angles, from certain angles, or maybe they're using old photos, or they're not showcasing their body, or they're wearing enough clothing to, basically they're doing just enough to not make it quite a catfish, but also to not give away too much about the reality of their physique. So essentially you might end up with girls that are curvier than you thought, or their face is not as good looking, or their, the photos they used were old, etc., etc. You get the point I'm saying. It's really annoying. And so with some, you learn to get better at this. You start screening, you start spotting red flags. Sometimes you'll ask for Instagram accounts. Sometimes you'll ask for more pics. In the process, you might lose girls because they'll be like, oh, what the fuck? Which means it was probably, she was probably trying to pull some kind of wool over your eyes. But anyway, it's not fun to deal with. Number 5, flaking and drop-offs are higher than they are when you do cold approach in real life. Why? First of all, for one of the reasons I already mentioned, where girls are on there for the wrong reasons, for validation, for distraction, to get over their ex, etc., etc. So they're not as willing really, or as invested in the idea of meeting up. They're potentially not even in the headspace to be meeting up. They have shit going on, but it's like, oh, it's a nice thing to do. Moreover, girls are not as invested in someone that they have not met in real life. You're just a concept to them. You're just some guy that they met online, and they like the idea of what it means, but you're nothing but a concept to them. At least in real life, when you meet a girl in real life, during the day or at night, you're at least an emotion to them. You're an emotional experience. That's why I always say you need to build more rapport with the girl when you meet them in real life, because just attracting her a little bit and having some fun during the day or at night is not enough for you to register as a real thing, as a real person in her mind, okay? Which would make her want to meet up with you. But at least you're giving her an emotional experience. Online, you're nothing but a concept to her, okay? So you're not really registering emotionally, and so she's not investing emotionally. And so it's very easy for her to justify flaking, dropping off, et cetera, especially when she's not in the right headspace or there for the wrong reasons, and she's just like, or overwhelmed by choice, and she's just like, whatever, there's so many guys, or, you know, I have shit going on anyway. Just makes for a really bad combination. Number 6, you cannot work on your personality and vibe with online game. You cannot grow as a person. You cannot work on your confidence, on your charisma, on your vocal tonality, on your assertiveness, on your body language, all those things that are super important. Why? Because you are not given the space or the medium to do so. With online game, you're not given the kind of feedback that you would need to make that growth happen. So what happens when you're meeting girls through cold approach, day or night? You're given that immediate raw fucking feedback from girls, from the universe, as to how you are behaving. Now, it's not always immediately obvious, like what you're doing wrong, and sometimes you need to do a lot of analysis and maybe, you know, get coaching and guidance. And this is why, for example, we film our students to really break down the footage for them to really see what's happening. But at least you're getting some, even if you're doing this on your own, you're getting some kind of like an intuitive feeling as to, especially if you're buying some digital products or looking at videos of what good infield looks like or good game looks like, you're going to get some intuitive understanding as to, you know, what might be going wrong if you're treating this with deliberate practice, as they say, versus regular practice, where you're actually going out smart and analyzing your interactions. You can get some understanding, some feedback as to what's happening in your interactions. And the good thing is that girls are not forced, you know, they're not forced to be there day or night, right? It's ruthless, it's unapologetic. And so it forces you to really step up. The environment, the interactions force you to step up and do your best. Now, what happens is if you end up on a date with a girl from online dating, she's, because of social custom and etiquette, she's forced to at least give you some time of day. She'll sit there at least for an hour with you and have a drink and ask you some questions and interact with you. And in the end, she might be like, all right, well, I gotta go, I have an early morning, but it was really nice meeting you. And you're gonna be like, I don't know what happened. That, you know, that kind of environment is not really gonna force you to, you know, be more assertive or say something more ballsy or interesting or charismatic or lead in a different way. So you're gonna be going on all these dates and essentially wasting your time. Sure, you're gonna get a little bit of a confidence boost because some of these girls are showing up, but they're probably not even gonna be the kind of girls, and I hear this time and again, they're not gonna be the kind of girls that you're really looking for to get that confidence boost. They're always gonna be a tier below what you can get in real life or what you're hoping for. So the only thing you're really gonna be practicing is your text game, and then you're gonna be losing girls when you get to these dates for the most part, and the girls, again, are not gonna be as hot as you'd like. So this begs the question, when is it even appropriate to bother with text game? Well, I would say three caveats. One, if you're a really good looking guy, top tier looks, and on top of that, if you have like a really solid Instagram account that you can attach where you have some status, really sick photos, cool lifestyle, good number of followers, just good content, where she can go on, maybe look at your stories. Two, if you're like a decent looking guy with good photos and you've got some like good text game and good strategies down, and you're feeling really lazy and you want to score like the odd date with okay looking girls, Sure, you can use online dating to get that, but again, you're not gonna be getting those like the higher quality girls that you'd like, but it's enough to maybe get by. Now the third point, or the third criteria is if you're absolutely forced to, like if you're on some severe lockdown, yeah, there's some like foot traffic here and there, but for the most part it's really bad, like you have no choice, then sure, go on the dating apps, maximize it to the best of your abilities, get the odd date, practice your text game, learn to optimize your profile, learn to, showcase your personality better, or be edgier with your text, whatever it is. There's some stuff to learn. But if you're living in a place like right now, like I don't know, Miami or LA or some cities that are more back to normal. I know Europe is like going in and out of lockdowns, but the bottom line is if you are in a city, pandemic or not, but if you're in a city where there is decent amount of foot traffic that's accessible to you, where you can go and day game or you can go and night game, then don't waste your time. You're gonna get much better return all around by doing some cold approach. And I forgot to mention, it's just so much more fucking fun. It's just enjoyable. You feel like you're alive. You feel like you're just like interacting and engaging with life as opposed to fucking sitting behind your phone screen. You're getting to, I talked about like how girls can't get a sense of your personality, but you can't really get a sense for girls' personalities either. And that's a big fucking point. Whereas, when you're talking to them in real life, you can see what these girls are about in terms of the vibe, which is really important. If you're looking for like girls to connect with that are of quality, you're not really going to get that online unless you maybe jump on a video call, and that's not easy to do. You got to get to that point where girls are committed and invested enough, to put the time into getting on a fucking video call with you. But it's just such a nuisance. Whereas in real life, you talk to a girl for 5 minutes on the street or at a bar, 5-10 minutes, you get a gist for what she's about. And if you're pickier about personality, you might be like, nah, fuck it. Like, yeah, you're pretty hot, but I'm looking for something more quality, more connection, etc. So there you have it. 6 reasons why dating apps are generally a waste of time. 1, personality cannot be showcased online. 2, hot girls have too many options. 3, there's just so much noise and bullshit to deal with on your end. 4, the pictures and profiles of the girls are not representative of real life. 5, flaking and drop-offs are really high, a lot higher than they are from cold approach. And 6, you cannot really work on your personality and your vibe and grow from a personal development perspective as much as you would in real life. All right, Casanova, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that like button and leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts, questions, comments, concerns, criticisms. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so that you're notified when we put out new content. And go grab your free bonus video, link in the description below, as well as get on the Honest Chemistry VIP list. We're gonna be launching in like the next couple of weeks, so stay in the loop, all right? Thanks again, and until next time.